Alright folks, so let's start hacking some Windows executables with Ollydbg. And the project I want to show you is this one here, PMA 401. And so, these machines already have Ollydbg and hashcalc on them. And they've already got this Putty on them, which is what we're going to use. So you know how Putty works. When you run it, you can give it the name of a server, and then it will ask you to log in as. So we're going to modify that functionality. So if you go to Olly, yes, okay, and then you open Putty, which I think I left on my desktop, or else my downloads, let's see. Nope, I got it here on my desktop, okay. So when you load it in, you see the machine assembly language instructions here, and the fact that it's paused down here, which is fine. And all right. Now I could run it inside the debugger, and I'll eventually see that login as message, and I want to modify the code that prints that. So over here in the section showing assembly language instructions, I want to right click and search for all referenced text strings. This is a great function of the debugger, which is much better than just the strings function that we've been using, implemented by things like bin text. Now I'm looking for strings referenced in putty.txt, and I can right click, search for text, and look for login as. And when I do that, it finds, see what's going on here. Program entry point. All right, make sure I'm right at the top. Looks like something weird happened there. It does search downward. Oh, okay, so I wasn't starting from the top. Search for text, login as. There we go. So it finds a command that pushes a string login as, and that's what it means to have a referenced text string. It doesn't just find those bytes in order that spell out the word login as, which might just happen by chance in something that's not really a string. It finds something that's actually used by a command. So if I search again, search next, I find a second place where it pushes the login as, and if I search again, it tells me there are no more. A little yellow message popped up. So there are two of them, and I don't know which one is actually used to print that message. So the way to find out is to use a breakpoint. So I'll go back to the top and search again. So here's one of them. So I press F2. It turns red. That puts a breakpoint there, so it'll stop whenever it reaches that point. And I go to the next one, and I put a breakpoint on that one too. And now I can just run the program, and it will hit one or the other of those, and I'll find out which one it is. So I run the program. It opens up over here. I have to give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info, and then open, and now it hits a breakpoint, and now I know which one it was, 41C-B6E. So this is the part that pushes putty.com. So I'm going to clear that breakpoint by just pressing F2 again. I don't need to break anymore, and I'm going to modify this. So I can right click here and follow in dump immediate constant. And what it'll do is look in this command and find this address, 467C7C, and dump it down here. So you can see what's stored there, and what's stored there is login as :space and then a null byte. That's how C strings work. You have ASCII characters spelling out the text, and then you have a null byte to terminate the string. So that's fine. And if I want to modify this code, I could just add one to C, turning it into D, and that would cut off the first letter of the string. To do that, you just right-click Assemble. You can change this command, which is currently push 467C7C, and make it 7D. Hit Assemble. And then I'm going to cancel because I don't need to change anything else. This changes red, turns to red because I changed it. And it shows you over here, now it's login as. And so if I want to save the modified program, the easiest way to save programs inside Olly is to save it after every time you make a change, save it. If you make multiple changes and try to save it, sometimes it only saves some of those changes, and it's very annoying. So to avoid going mad, I've learned to save it after each change. So I copy to executable all modifications, copy all, and that creates a thing called putty.exe here with the modified data. And I can right-click and save file, and I'm going to call that Putty2. All right, now I'm done with Olly for the moment. Let's close Olly, and let's look at the desktop. So here's the new Putty2. So when I run Putty2 and give it the name of a server, and open, it now prints login as. So I've been able to modify code in a very trivial way, but I was able to modify code. And in the last class, someone objected at this point, quite correctly, saying, that's supposed to be signed code. This is actually a disturbing thing. Here's the original Putty. If you right-click that and go to Properties and go to Digital Signatures, it's signed by someone named Simon Tatum. And if you look at the details, it tells you this digital signature is okay, because that's an unmodified, clean copy of the signed code. But I just modified this one. If you right-click this one, go to Properties, and Digital Signatures, it still has Simon Tatum's signature, but if you go to Details, it tells you the signature is not valid. Now, I didn't hear anybody say they were from Microsoft, which is a shame, because I'd love to have somebody from Microsoft explain to me what's going on here. They have code signatures, they understand them, and they don't do anything when they're broken. That was the whole point of code signatures, right? Was if I try to run a program with a broken signature, it ought to refuse to run or warn me or something. And this is the latest version of Windows 10. I am confused, but that's how it works. I don't know why you bother having code signatures when you're going to just totally ignore them, but that's how Microsoft works. So anyway, you can modify this, and you can modify it in various ways. That was the simplest modification, to just change a message by one letter. But if you go in this project, you change the whole message to a different word. And I've got other projects where people just insert malware in there, Metasploit malware in there, and so on. You can totally modify this code and run it. Now, if you put in Metasploit malware, it will get caught by antivirus engines because it recognizes the particular malware you put in there. But that just means you need to find a sneakier kind of malware to put in there. Anyway, so there's a few things you do by modifying Putty and making it print out different messages. And then there's another one to look at here with this 000 file. So I want to show you that one because that's fun. So here, if I get the instructions here inside the VM, which I think we are, yep, 401. All right, now I want to go page down, there we go. Okay, and get down to the link to download this 000 thing, which I got from the EXE CTF. And I thought this was wonderful. There we are. That's the one I want. I want that 000 file. There we are. So I click that, and it downloads, and I'll save it. Okay, it's going into the Downloads folder. So here it is, and it's a command line program. So I won't try to launch it in the GUI, but instead get a command line. Yes. A little bit laggy. There we go.
Sam,
yeah.
Right click, and you can open up a command line in that folder.
If you right click, oh, okay. Because when I go to the menu, all I can get is a PowerShell thing.
No. You can get all of them.
Oh, neat. Let's
open up the
downloads. All right.
Downloads again.
What, up here?
No. Just open up downloads. Right click on oo.exe.
Oh, right click on this.
Yeah.
And
right on oo.exe.
I did. And where is it? I don't see it.
Right click to the left of it.
Okay.
And the white space.
open in Windows Terminal. Oh, is that a Microsoft product? I wouldn't. No, that's Yes, PowerShell. Yeah, that's fine. I know about that.
But if you scroll down, you can also open it up in regular.
Oh, okay.
PowerShell, so, yeah.
That's cool. Good. Thank you. Well, here, let me do that because I'm already not in the right folder. Okay, good. So this is you right-click in white space, and then no, the only thing you get is Windows Terminal.
No,
there's command prompt.
Windows
I'm with you.
Terminal.
There's command prompt. I see. Neat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Although you could use PowerShell for everything anyway. That's cool. This Windows Terminal, this looks like a Linux kind of product. Anyway.
It's Microsoft. It's Microsoft's new replacement for CMD.
Good. Oh, neat. Okay. Well, anyway, so here I am. Here's the file 000. So I can just run that program, and it asks me for launch codes. And if I give it a number, it then insults me. I think my dog figured this out before you. So it's a password guessing game. You have to guess the codes, and if you get them wrong, you get insulted. So the game is to try to guess the code, and we're not going to do that. We're going to cheat with Ollie. So let's launch up Ollie and look at this program in Ollydbg. Yeah, I don't need administrator rights. I need to open a file in the downloads folder. 000. There it is. All right. This is the greatest program ever for learning because the whole thing fits on one screen in Ollie. This is about the simplest program ever. And so here's the addresses and the raw hexadecimal instructions and the assembly language, but you don't actually need to read any of that. You can just see the system calls here, and these are all C library calls. So you put S launch codes, that'll print it on the screen. You scanf something from the user, which is a number, and then you either print wow, you got it, or I think my dog found it out before you. So this is when you lose, and this is when you win. And now you can look in here. It does a compare and then a jump, not 0. So this compare must be what decides whether you got it right. And if you got it right, then it does not do this jump. And if you got it wrong, it does do this jump because that goes to 205A. And 205A is down here, and that's about to print the insult. So all I have to do to win is not do this jump. And I might as well not do this compare either. If I don't do that, and I don't do this, I'll fall through and print the winning message. So I just right-click here and assemble, and I changed, or whatever that command is, to NOP, which does nothing, no operation. So I assemble, and I just keep assembling through all these lines because every byte is changed to NOP, and now one more, and now I've got a game I can win. It will read a password, and whatever you give it, it will say you win. So I just have to save this modified game. All modifications, copy all, and right-click Save File, and downloads is fine, and I'm going to call it 000 mod. All right, and I'm done with Ollie, and now that game should be much easier. So if I run that one, mod, and I give it a launch code of 1, I win. And every time you win one of these, you get a letter, and the letters can spell things out and stuff. But so there are some later challenges where you have to crack more and more of these and then write a Python script and automate them up to 256. But you see how it works with one. And I thought that was very nice, very good for people to learn assembly code and using Ollie. So there's a few things to hack with Ollydbg, and check them out if you like.